The program has some standard CAD capabilities, and this is a quick introduction to those. It tries to follow a standard program layout for the horizontal menu bar at the top of the screen. You select Files, you can clear out the display for a new drawing, you can open a file, you can save a file, you can save the file to a different name. If you open a file, it will remove the previous drawing information. We can find different drawing files. The program supports its own format, LCD, but it can also support AutoCAD DWG and DXF formats. The DWG format won't be for the current versions of AutoCAD, so we recommend you use DXF if you want consistency. We have a whole list of standard Maytec profiles here, so we'll just arbitrarily load one. It's defined as a continuous closed polyline, so that maximises your ability to do additional operations with it later on. When something is highlighted, your right mouse button will give you a context menu, so depending on where you are in the program will depend on what is displayed on this menu. In this case, this displays many of the editing functions, but we've selected an entity, so we'll deselect it. Editing, we have a standard undo redo buffer. We can cut, copy, paste. We can select all, deselect all, and we can select things by layer or by a enclosing polygon. For the view, we can zoom in various ways to the drawing extents, to a window, to the previous zoom position, zoom to the drawing limits, or zoom to selected items on the screen. There's a real-time pan capability, so you can pan around the screen. Some of these also are handled by the mouse buttons, so we can zoom out using a mouse scroll wheel, or we can pan around using the middle button of a mouse. We can also redraw the window in various ways. We have standard draw functions, so we can draw points, lines, multi-line, which is two lines parallel to each other, arc in various ways, a circle in various ways, rectangles, polylines, spline curve, text, multi-line text. We can also manage drawing blocks in a similar way to CAD programs like AutoCAD. We also have modify functions, so we can do the various modify operations: move, copy, rotate, scale, delete, explode, trim or extend, and there's an offset function. We have object snap modes. This is to enable accurate drawing, so we can nominate these various modifiers. So if we draw, for example, a line, and we go to OSnap, endpoint, we can now pick the endpoint of that line. We can go to OSnap, midpoint, and find the midpoint of that line and draw accurately. We have layer operations. The way the program works is any circle on a drill layer will be seen as a drilling operation. Any line on a cut layer will be seen as a profile cut, and the other three default layers referenced there are just for drawing convenience. They're not active in terms of building NC files. We have various tools, so we have a measure function, so we can measure distances. It's cumulative, so you get the total distance and the distance of the last line segment. That can be useful to accurately measure various components. We can define areas, so we'll give you the area enclosed within that region. You can also define things like the style of point when you draw a point, and similar menus exist for line styles, line weight, which is the line thickness, text styles. We can get general drawing information to work out what's exactly within the drawing. We also have colours, plugins, which primarily relate to the DXF and DWG file load and save operations. We can set a background colour for the screen if you don't like the default colour, and we can also determine the version number of the CAD library being used, which is 115 in this case. Profiles. This relates to an earlier program which was developed for displaying Maytec profiles. So we can scroll through these to see various profiles. We can go up a directory, see all the 30mm profiles. If you find one you like, you can insert it. And then close. So this gives you access to delete the previous geometry. This gives you access to all the standard Maytec extrusion profiles if you need them. So that's a sub-program that covers most of the profiles available. We then have a machining menu. This duplicates the functions of the buttons at the top right of the screen, but it also has one or two other functions. One useful one will be set offsets. So you can define an X, Y, Z offset of the routing table. So if everything is slightly out of alignment when you drill a hole position, you're able to apply corrections here to calibrate the table to the program. Ideally we'd like that to be 000, but the program's still under development, and once we have it all working we can address the offsets so that they match nicely. You can also load and save the offset file, so you can have multiple settings available to you. We close that, and that's a brief overview. There is no online help yet, and there is an about screen. This is useful to know if you find problems. It helps to define the version number of the program you're using, so we can track down whether any bugs you might find have been fixed or still exist. Thank you.